What's up, guys? WowSwag here. So this is going to be the first of my ban list discussions, as the last major event has just ended. Other than Worlds, obviously, the last big Nationals has ended, with Windups beating Chaos Dragons in the European Nationals. So congratulations to those representing Euro in the Worlds, as well as congratulations to all the people who are going for the North American. So, my discussion today is on these decks right here, which are Inzektors, Dragons, Chainburn, and Windups. Now, I realize these are some of the most hated decks in the format. Chainburn I'll put in the same category as Final Countdown, because many people do that anyways. So, some of the most hated decks in the format, and some of the most likely to have something done to them, with the exception of Chainburn and Final Countdown. So, what I'm here to talk about is the cards that people are saying are going to get banned, that are going to get touched, that are going to get destroyed, that are going to get plantified. And when I say plantified, I mean they're going to wreck them just like they wreck plants, kind of things. Now, before I begin, I want to point out that this current ban list will not have the same effects that the last ban list did with the destruction of plants. Konami has no new product to push on us this term, or this portion of their sales. There's archetypes they want to push and packs, but there's no new mechanic, there's no exceed, there's no new thing for that. So, don't expect any of these decks to get absolutely murdered by the ban list. For those of you who think Tour Guide is going to get hit, I really don't think you're going to have your wish. That has been talked about for a few formats now, and it's not going to happen. Tour Guide is not a game-breaking card. It's an engine just like anything else, but it's not a game-breaking card. You can't win a game just by playing Tour Guide. You can't do it. Unless they have 1,000 life points left and you hit them for 1,000. Like, you're not going to win the game. Now, I'm going to start with Inzektors, because it's obviously, I'll talk about all four of them during this video, but Inzektors are the ones that people really seem to hate, because of this card, this card, this card, and Tour Guide. Oh, that card and that card. So, those are the main big things of the deck. Now, I do play Inzektors. I find that I can play the deck very well. I can play it better than most of the other decks I have, just because it's more like Dragoonides and things like that, which is one of my favorite decks of all time is Dragoonides. And these play very similar in the fact of equipping and removing and getting effects via that, and getting, advantage. So, everyone thinks, or from what I've seen, it's these three that people are really talking about. Not so much these two, because they don't actually do much except, open up OTK potentials. You can't OTK with these three cards. You can OTK when you add these in, but no one seems to understand what, makes these decks run. Like, you want to stop OTK potential? Smash one of these cards. This will just be replaced with Giga Weevil, and, well, you can't really replace this, but, so, there's no point. So put those away for now. Everyone compares this to a Stratos. While it has a very Stratos-like effect, it's not actually like Stratos in this fact that you can still negate this. You can TT, you can Bottomless, you can do anything. You can't do that to Stratos. Stratos will go off no matter what. There's things you have to do for this card to allow you to do its effect. Not like Stratos. This is not a Stratos. It's a Stratos-like effect, but you have to do something. This is far, less broken than Stratos. It doesn't need to go to 1. It's not going to go to 2. If it does, I'll be very surprised. Next, we have Hornet. You want to put this to 1? Be my guest. All it's going to do is going to make people run different things. They're going to run multiple Ladybugs. They're going to run Hoppers. They're going to run Armageddon Knights. They're going to run shit just to get this in the grave. Okay, you can get rid of it with a DD Crow. That's wonderful. Your game 2 looks awesome. Your game 2 already looks awesome this format against them. What's the point? So if you feel the need to Konami to hit this to 1, be my guest. This is the card that I believe will be hit. Dragonfly. It opens up the most potential of the deck. It makes it as fast as it is. It's the best top deck this deck has. So, what do? Do you put it to 1 or do you put it to 2 or you ban it? Well, they're not going to ban it. They don't want to kill decks. People need to understand that. Konami doesn't like to absolutely annihilate decks. Yes, they did that for Plants, but they needed to promote Exceeds. To be honest, if Plants didn't get hit, we'd still be playing Plants this format. You'd still be seeing Plants everywhere, and everyone would be still pissy about it. So Dragonfly needs to go to 1 or 2. Either one works for me. I'm not going to play this deck next format anyways, just because I don't feel the need to. I'm moving on to a couple other decks that I think are pretty fun, especially Glad Beasts. Okay, so next we'll talk about wind-ups. Now, the only card, there's a few cards in here that people are complaining about. The one that they're not complaining about, they should be, but they're not. And my tour guides are my one, but they clearly tour guide too. So, and Zen Mighty, which is in my Exceed binder or whatever the hell it is. So, Wind Up Hunter and Wind Up Rat. People say, oh, ban Hunter. Okay, that stops a loop. You've stopped the loop. Congratulations. You haven't stopped the deck. The deck's not that good without Hunter, so essentially you demolish the deck. If I was Konami, what I would do is I would make either Rat or Zen Mighty go to 2. Thus creating it so that you do not diminish the hand. What does this card do without Rat? Nothing. What does this card do without Zen Mighty? Nothing. It's a 1600 beat stick that wouldn't see any play. So yeah, you have the ability to loop them for what? 2 cards? Possibly 3? At the highest? Like, as it is right now, you can go 4 cards, and if you have Pot of Hours, the entire hand. So, I don't think they're going to murder these. They don't do anything in the OCG. People need to realize that Konami barely looks at the TCG for anything to do with the ban list. Wind-ups don't do jack shit. And I should point out that this deck fell off the radar because Maxi went out of play. People just stopped playing Maxi. Once people start playing Maxi, the deck dies. Now, the real problem card that everyone seemed, and they good reason not to talk about it, is Wind Up Shark. It's TCG exclusive. It's also the most broken card in that entire deck. Like, it's literally a free card. You can do almost anything in that deck and get a free Shark. So, if I was really trying to smash the deck, man, I'd just get rid of Shark. Okay. So we talked about windups, talked about Inzectors. We'll now talk about the Big Daddy, and I'm going to make this real quick because I already know what people are going to say. So let's bring out the card, though. Unless we'll talk about BLS here. But yep. I'm going to do a lot of cards at once here, just to get this out of the way. Okay. That's not a pretty tour guide. I want a pretty one. Sorry about taking so long. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do a lot of these, and I know that not all of them are Chaos Dragon, so. Okay, so Dragon-wise. Pulsar to 1 stops the problem. Red MD to 1 stops the problem. Any questions? Let's think about this for a second. Why does it stop the problem? Because you no longer have the ability to just do stupid shit. The lock is not that hard to get around. It's hard to get around when they have multiple copies of each card that they can just keep swapping in and out of. Okay. I'll put that in for the generic crap after. Solar Recharge. Why would you kill Lightsworn? They just got Luna back to 2. It's a great draw engine for decks like this that are chaos-based. Sure, it's amazing. It doesn't win games. It's not that broken. Future Fusion, my personal pick for banned. I've been saying this needs to go for quite a long time. It's not just this format that has been stupid, and it just creates FTK and OTK potential that shouldn't happen. And especially with cards like Bryonak, as long as Bryonak is a card, this card should not see play. It opens up far too many potentially broken plays. So let's please get rid of this. 5-headed is not the problem. It just allows this to be good in Dragons. This card is the problem. And it's not just in Dragons. It can be used with Zephyros, the stupid Dark Fusion, and Heroes, and it gets ridiculous. So let's please ban Future Fusion. Okay. Generic crap. BLS. I don't care if this stays or if this goes. But in reality, we don't need this card simply because if you do play it mid-game to late game, you're probably going to win. Once resources are gone, you probably won with this card. Doesn't matter what deck it's in. More generic stuff, then we get to the Chamber and Final Countdown speech, which it won't take very long. Power cards. In the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, we have power cards. In the game of Magic, we have power cards. Hell, in Vanguard, they have power cards. They have good triggers. They have, all that good stuff. These are Yu-Gi-Oh! Power cards. We have them for a reason. Don't just slam them because they're good. Okay, yeah, that's a free monster. Whoopie-doo. It's a, oh no, Heavy Storm, you just throw up a back row. So we're not doing a fucking set 5 pass format. And Dark Hole. Okay? We need Dark Hole as good players to get out of bad situations that otherwise are just redonkulously dumb. Like, there's no point in playing it anymore. You just scoop. Heavy Storm. You can play around Heavy Storm. There's no reason why you should not be able to play around this card if you are a decent player. Okay? Don't set 4 with with nothing to protect it. That's stupid. Monster Reborn. Sure, you can sometimes read this, sometimes you can't. Now, when I say read, I mean, yeah, you can tell if somebody has it or if they don't have it. That's great. It's a great top deck. It lets people get back in the game. It lets things happen. I don't think that it should be banned just because it's a good card. We need power cards in the game. Finally, Tour Guide and Sangan. Okay? Tour Guide, not the problem. Just allows things to be good that aren't good. This card alone, with its bitches sisters and Sangan, basically, or any level 3, has made inconsistent decks consistent and has allowed more decks to top this format than any other format. People need to realize that this format is not that bad, and the reason why people think it's bad is because there's too many decks. Exactly what people have been asking for from Konami. They are now complaining there's too many decks. Shut up and just accept it for the game as it evolves. Tour Guide does not need to get banned, or limited, or semi-limited. My pick for number 1 or number 2 banned card, Sangan. Any good player will tell you that they're not just going to go Tour Guide Sangan, Exceed. No, that's stupid. That's a stupid play. You just wasted your Sangan. I'd be going Tour Guide Sangan, pass. Sure, run over my Tour Guide. That's great. Next turn, I can either synchro with this and make my BLS, or make my BLS. Oh, that went through. Okay, yeah, you didn't put it much on the board because I only had a Sangan. You had a Tour Guide, whatever. Normal Summon Veiler, synchro into Armory Arm, search with Sangan, and equip Armory Arm to BLS. Attack for game. Yeah, stupid shit. Either you're forcing your opponent to waste resources on this card, or you yourself are using it to get your own pluses because they don't want to waste resources on it. There's been games where I have poked for 4,000 damage with a Sangan because they didn't want to deprison it. They wanted to wait for something better. But I just set 1, poke. MST, cool. Set 1, poke. That's all I did. And that's why it's a stupid card. It needs to go. Finally, those complaining about Burn and Final Countdown. I get where you're coming from with Final Countdown. Final Countdown just got such a boost from One Day of Peace and Card D. Unfriggin' believable boost. Chain Burn did get a boost from Card D, I guess, but at the same time, it's a pretty inconsistent deck. Like, there's so much that can go wrong with this deck, or you can side in for it. It's just like Inzektors. It's redonkulous. People need to start opening their eyes to see burn is not really a threat. Sure, you get salty when you lose to it, but it's not that much of a problem. And it never has been a problem. There's never been a format where burn just owns everything. It's always going to be around, and one day they'll put Chain Strike to 3, and we will see some stupid shenanigans. But until that day, nothing needs to happen to burn. Possibly ban the card Final Countdown. So, let's see. Overall, I'd just like to thank you for watching and listening to my ban list part 1. Next time I'm going to go over in depth some of the things that I've read or that I've heard people talking about and why I think it's quite dumb what they've started to protect. It's gotten to the point where people just don't think about these things. They just complain. And I'll start up the realistic ban list predictions and things like that, where I can compile my thoughts and things like that into a real form where people can actually realistically think of the ban list. And stop just going with the hype and going with people's overreactions to things and all these things. And people just need to calm down and actually thoroughly think out the ban list and not just believe everything they hear kind of thing. So, overall, ban Sangan, ban Future Fusion. I'll be happy. Do whatever you want to their decks. They're just going to make something more broken that you're going to complain about, so it doesn't matter. Have a great Sunday afternoon, and talk to you later.